The secret life of mushrooms, the largest web of life on Earth. Imagine a world where rulers don't wear crowns, don't fight for territory, and yet they control everything. Their kingdoms stretch underground, through forests, and sometimes even in your body. They have no eyes, yet they can see. They have no brains, yet they make decisions, pass on information, and influence the lives of others. What are these mysterious beings? Organisms present for thousands of years, full of mysteries and extraordinary properties. They often appeared in myths, folk medicine, or stories about mysterious phenomena. But that's just the beginning, because mushrooms hide much more. Their underground networks connect entire forests into a single organism. Some species can take control of another creature's mind. Others were present at the birth of religion, changed human history, and today can change our future. Today in Unknown Tales Files, we will dive into the silent, dark world of these creatures that are perhaps the most powerful force of life on our planet. Part 1. The World of Underground Networks. Mycelium as a Hidden Internet of Nature. In the forest, everything seems silent. Tree trunks remain motionless, leaves rustle lazily, birds occasionally break the silence. But this is only an appearance, because just below the surface of the earth, just a few centimeters under the layer of leaves and moss, intensive communication is taking place. Gigantic networks stretch there, not of cables, but of mycelium fibers. This is an infrastructure invisible to the human eye, which connects entire forest ecosystems. Mycelium is a system of thin threads, or hyphae, that can entwine the roots of trees and other plants. Instead of competing with them, they form a symbiotic relationship called mycorrhiza. Plants share photosynthetic products with fungi, and in return receive water, minerals, and information. Because that's where things get amazing. Fungi can transmit signals between plants. If one tree is attacked by pests, it can warn another. Thanks to the mycelium network, nearby trees change their chemical reactions, strengthen their defenses, sometimes even change the composition of their sap. This is no coincidence. It's a form of communication. Biologists suggest that the mycelium acts not only as a transmitter, but also as a mediator. It decides which information gets passed on and to whom. And that means one thing: fungi are not passive conductors. They control the traffic in the network. Some trees, such as old pine or beech trees, act as mother trees in such a network. It is through them that the most resources flow. But without fungi, their network would not exist. It is the mycelium that connects generations of trees, sends nutrients to younger seedlings, and even punishes parasitic plants by limiting their access to resources. Does this sound like the behavior of mindless organisms? Or maybe more like a management system? The mycelium network doesn't just sustain life in the forest. It governs it, silently, without fanfare, like a silent king who doesn't have to speak for everyone to listen. Part 2. Masterminds, Parasitic Fungi and Behavior Manipulation. In the natural world, the struggle for survival takes many forms: force, cunning, camouflage. But there are creatures that have chosen a more subtle, more terrifying path, taking control of another's body. Parasitic fungi reign supreme among them. The most famous example is Ophiocordyceps unilateralis, a fungus that attacks tropical ants. Its spores attach to the insect's body, penetrate the exoskeleton, and begin to grow inside it. The fungus does not kill immediately. It first takes over the ant's nervous system. The insect, which previously functioned in the colony, now becomes a puppet. Under the influence of unknown mechanisms, it climbs onto a leaf or twig, stops at a precise location, and clenches its mandibles. At this point, the ant dies. The fungus uses its body as a platform for further development. It grows out of its head and releases new spores. But that's not the only case. There are fungi that infect flies, spiders, and even snails, each employing a different manipulation strategy, perfectly tailored to its prey. What's more, some studies suggest that fungi can affect neurotransmitter levels, changing the behavior of their hosts on a deeper chemical level. In 2020, scientists discovered that certain species of Massospora fungi that infect cicadas cause their genitalia to fall off. Despite this, the insects continue to try to reproduce, increasing the chance of spreading spores. What may seem like a horror story is actually a perfect survival strategy for the parasite. Although we know such phenomena mainly from the world of insects, the question arises: are there fungi that could affect more complex organisms in a similar way? Or maybe they already do. There is no place for morality in nature. What counts is effectiveness. And fungi are masters in this game. Part 3. Mushrooms in the history of humanity, from rituals to religions. Since ancient times, humans have not only collected mushrooms for food. Some mushrooms have held a special place in rituals, myths, and spirituality. In many cultures around the world, hallucinogenic mushrooms have been viewed as sacred, allowing contact with the divine or the spirit world. In Mexico, the ancient Mazatec's used psilocybe mushrooms in ceremonies that were meant to bring them closer to the voices of their ancestors. Some of their descendants, especially in the Oaxaca region, continue these practices to this day. These mushrooms were called sacred children and were consumed for healing, prophetic, and cleansing purposes. In Siberia, peoples such as the Chukchi and Koryaks consumed the fly agaric, known for its intense psychoactive effects. It was considered a sacred gift of the earth that led to visions and spiritual awakening. In ancient Greece, mysterious Eleusinian ceremonies took place, during which a drink called kykeon was consumed. Its exact composition is unknown, but some researchers assume that it contained alkaloids derived from ergot, a fungus parasitizing on cereals, which could induce visions and deep mystical experiences. It wasn't just about intoxication. For many people, mushrooms were a gateway to another dimension, a tool for learning the secrets of life, death, and the meaning of existence. Their role in shaping human spirituality is often overlooked, and yet perhaps it was they who sowed the first sparks of transcendence in us. Mushrooms spoke to us not with words, but with visions, and what they showed often changed entire civilizations. Part 4. The poison and the cure. Mushrooms that kill and heal. Fungi can be ruthless. A few bites of the death cap mushroom are enough to cause liver failure and death. Amanitin, the toxin contained in this mushroom, is so strong that there is no antidote for it. Symptoms appear only after a dozen or so hours, when the damage to the body is already irreversible. And although this is just one of thousands of species, it is enough to realize how dangerous these organisms can be. But fungi are not just poisons. From this same mysterious land comes one of the greatest breakthroughs in the history of medicine, penicillin. In 1928, Scottish bacteriologist Alexander Fleming noticed that a mold fungus, Penicillium notatum, grew on a plate of bacteria and inhibited their growth. This accidental discovery ushered in the era of antibiotics, saving hundreds of millions of lives. Fungi began to be seen not only as a threat, but also as a salvation. Modern science is reaching even further. In the treatment of depression and post-traumatic stress disorder, research is underway on the use of psilocybin, a psychoactive substance found in some mushrooms. The results are promising. Many patients experience radical improvement after just one therapy session. Paradoxically, what was once treated as a drug and taboo is now coming back into favor as a medicinal agent. There are also mushrooms that have anti-cancer properties, such as chaga, reishi, and maitake. Used for centuries in Eastern medicine, today they are attracting the attention of biotechnologists from around the world. The polysaccharides they contain can strengthen the immune system and support cancer therapies. Fungi are unpredictable. They can contain both death and hope in a single molecule. What is deadly to one organism may be salvation to another. And all of this is enclosed in a modest cap growing out of the ground. Part 5. Armillaria, the mushroom that is the forest. In Oregon, in the dense forest of the Blue Mountains, something grows that cannot be seen. It does not rise into the sky, does not bloom, does not move, and yet it is the largest known living organism on our planet. Armillaria ostoyae, a fungus that, according to research, covers an area of almost 1,000 hectares, or as much as over 1,000 football fields. Scientists have named it humongous fungus, a giant fungus. Its fruiting bodies, the honey mushrooms we know, appear in the fall and disappear after a few days. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real body of Armillaria is a giant mycelium that stretches underground, growing over centuries. Genetic studies have shown that all of its fragments belong to one organism, the same DNA code, the same structure. Not hundreds, not thousands, but one. One organism on an incomprehensible scale. This titan of the forest world does not only live in hiding, it actively influences the environment. Armillaria attacks trees, penetrating their roots and slowly weakening them. As a result, entire swaths of forest can die. But at the same time, the fungus breaks down dead matter and returns it to the biological cycle, supporting the regeneration of life. Its role in ecological cycles is as destructive as it is creative. The lifespan of this organism is estimated at least 2,500 years. It is possible, however, that it is much older. It has no heart, no eyes, and yet it has survived eras, wars, fires. Throughout all this time it has grown, slowly and patiently, as if it had an unlimited awareness that time was working in its favor. The Armillaria mushroom does not resemble known life forms. It is not a predator. It does not flee from danger. It does not interact with humans. Although it does not move or speak, it forces us to reflect. Who really rules this earth? Part 6, Fungi of the Future, Living Materials, Biotechnology, and Terraforming Mars. Mushrooms are not just a relic of ancient ecosystems. In laboratories around the world, they are now the heroes of the most futuristic projects. Engineers, architects, and biologists are discovering their potential not only as living organisms, but as materials of the future. One breakthrough is the creation of mycelium-based composites, building materials from mycelium. When the mycelium is combined with plant waste and placed in a mold, it begins to grow, creating a lightweight, durable, and fully biodegradable material. Once it is finished growing, it can be dried, and its structure resembles a densely woven tissue, resistant, fireproof, and insulating. It can replace polystyrene, concrete, and even wood. Companies like Ecovative and MycoWorks are already producing acoustic panels, furniture, and even plant leather used in fashion from mycelium. This is not only ecological, but also a revolutionary approach to design. The material is not dead. In a sense, it lives, breathes, and reacts. But the boldest ideas are still in the making. NASA is funding research into using mycelium to build habitats on Mars. The idea is simple. Instead of transporting heavy structural elements, astronauts would take only spores. On site, in controlled conditions, the mycelium could grow and create a structure that shields against cosmic radiation. Such a living house would not only be cheap and lightweight to transport, but it would also repair minor damage on its own. Fungi can also play a key role in cleaning up the environment. Some species break down crude oil, heavy metals, and even plastic. A fungus has been discovered in Japan that can digest polyurethane, one of the most difficult plastics to dispose of. The world of the future may not be made of steel and concrete. It may be soft, fibrous, and covered in spores. Part 7. Do fungi rule the world? A hypothesis that isn't so crazy. At first glance, they seem inconspicuous. Stillness, no color, no sound. They grow, disappear, no one cares. And yet, when we combine all the facts we have learned so far, a surprising picture emerges. Fungi are everywhere. They affect everything, and they have ways of acting that go beyond the typical patterns of life as we know it. Unlike plants, fungi do not need light. Unlike animals, they have no nervous system or muscles, yet they can respond, move toward food, create structures with astonishing precision. In laboratory tests, some fungi were able to find the shortest path to a food source more efficiently than computer algorithms. Others showed responses suggesting something that researchers coyly call cellular memory. Fungi transform entire environments. They turn rocks into soil, digest dead matter, stabilize ecosystems. In prehistoric times, they probably played a key role in allowing plants to colonize land. If they disappeared, life on Earth would collapse within weeks. But what if their influence extends beyond biology? Some scientists wonder whether the compounds produced by some species of fungi those that affect human perception, consciousness, and behavior, may have had a greater influence on our culture and evolution than we'd like to admit. Is it a coincidence that their effects often evoke a sense of oneness with the world? Or that the mycelium looks like a map of the human brain's neurons? If something exists almost everywhere, has survived through the ages, can communicate, influence other organisms, and grows silently beneath our feet, doesn't it deserve to be called the true ruler of this planet? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you want, and see you in the next episode.